everything tidied up?
Yes. So
Do you want me to take the box away?
I'll take the box and the microphone and get something to.
I just wanted that handy just in case. So I was going to put it down.
Yeah. So that's the. That's the view.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks.
nice. Thank you. Much nice wires.
So I'm going to bring the fair mount just before 11.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go put the cafeteria and it's okay? Yeah. Okay, look after yourself now. Look after yourself. Now I'm going to go get another butterfly. Is that better?
Can you start like this? Copy and I will send one version
Should I
to.
do the BBC?
BCC, yeah, so they don't see each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And send one version to Lee first, please. And then
Okay.
I'll use Lee to test.
Let's set down. I don't know.
Yeah, so
I've sent it to Lee.
If I raise the lights, that's going to get faded. Is this too dark to video?
It's too dark for
No.
So from
If I raise that, I can't really see that.
it's a bit light. Oh no, it's actually alright.
So they can't see that.
yeah. Can you bring it down? Bring it all the way down as you have it. Actually, this is better. The contrast improves, so this is perfect.
So maybe when we start the service, we bring it all the way down. Yeah, we'll start with when everyone's coming to see.
Is there any way to switch on the light? It's on my phone. Yeah? Here and here? These photos here and here. I know. We do the, yeah.
So our multi group are going to be singing because we'll lead the singing in you. And they're kind of
Thank you.
yeah. Do you want me to?
How do you know I can?
You want my phone? I got Lee's number.
No, she pointed out I can just use WhatsApp.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then we'll come in.
Yeah, so
Already done.
we just need to test the sound.
Yeah, I will.
She's on with you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you the phone call.
Hello. So I just want to test. So everyone, if you could stop talking for a second, I'm very sorry. We just need to test the audio. Very sorry. Can you hear me normally like this? Yes. Yes, please. So.
Can you hear this?
So you be on the headphones. Can you hear me over the headphones like this? This is my normal voice. Clearly, nice. Kieran, will you say something? How does it sound?
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hear properly. Welcome back. So I'm hoping it's going to go down. But yes, it's only the direction of the camera. At least the speakers will be. Okay, I'll shut up now. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, so everything works on your works. You're set live stream is set.
You don't need to sit here, or do you need to sit?
No, I'll sit here just in case.
Yeah, vaguely, it was a few weeks ago. There's a problem.
And then check after half an hour.
Yes. Anything else?
Yes, a lot.
However, you just wait until you can make a situation of the yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the revaluation of the house. Okay. All right. Just give me. Let me check now.
I can see you're having
Yeah. Leave it with me. I'll call you
the microphone works.
Yes. So yeah, it actually very well because I with my normal voice.
Yeah.
Natasha, just be aware that the live stream is on when you're in this area. You're being broadcast. No, as if you don't pick your nose.
That was like my slide. I got the skin.
Is my laptop charging? It is charging. Yes, so that will bring us
Now be right. Okay, so I will do that now. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
I don't think she will wait until something else starts. Technically, we can start a bit before that, because I don't know. There is space.
Yeah. Just, yeah. Or just switch them off because we're going to go right now. So probably once they show we'll sit cutting this nothing. And it changes the next three lights on.
Yeah, I'm just the weirdest thought. This is a recorder. I want to leave it there to capture audio. Will the people remember that this is not a microphone? I'm afraid that someone will grab this and sell the other one. And now I'm thinking, should I? As many times. I know, I just don't want it vibrating when you say it starts. But before it starts, it will start. Yeah.
Am I here? No, it's here.
So it's not, there's no setting for it. Still better than any alternative I had, but like, how are you? I'm so sorry, but can you get something smaller? Yes, I'm very sorry, but no, you're out of luck. Sorry.
E te ti, e te tā o te whare, tēnā koutou katoa. Tēnā koutou katoa kua raueka mai nei I runga I te whakapa I tēnei wā. Ko te mea tuatahi, e mihi ana au ki a Nigel. Kua hinga he tōtara I te wao nui a tāne. Haere, haere, haere atu rā tō tātou rangatira. Moi mai rā, moi mai rā. Ko te mea tuarua, kei te mihi te whānua Nigel raua ko Arthur. Kia kaha, kia maia, kia manawa nui. Nā mihi aroha mai I a tātou kia koutou. Ko te mea tuatoru, e mihi ana au kia koutou katoa. Kia ora koutou, mō koutou aroha me o koutou tautoko. He aha te mea nui o te ao. He tangata, he tangata, he tangata. Nō reira, e ngā mana, e ngā reo, raurangatira mā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to the service today. I'll just translate what I said in Māori. So, firstly, I'd like to acknowledge Nigel. Tote has fallen in the forest of Tāne. Farewell, our faithful leader. May you rest in peace. Secondly, I would like to acknowledge Nigel's family and his partner Arthur. Stand strong and support one another. We're sharing our love with you at this time. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge all of you. Thank you for your love and support that you've shared. What is the most important thing in the world? It is people. It is people. It is people. So today we come together to remember Nigel King. Let us do so with honest laughter and love. Today is not a funeral or a religious gathering, but it's a celebration of Nigel's life.
Hi guys, so I'm going to turn around here. I'm going to switch on the video, and it is running.
You bring the sun out to warm my life up, to make my love grow every day. You bring the stars out, darkness go away. You bring the sun out to warm my life up, to make my life grow every day. You bring the stars out to light the night up, to make the darkness go away. I reach to you, you reach to me. No matter where I go, I know you'll always be. Never too far, far from my heart. I'll always have you here. I'll always know your need to bring the sun out, to warm my life up, to make my love grow every day. You bring the stars out to light the night up, to make the darkness go away. To make the darkness go away. Ooh, ooh.
Would now like to invite those who wish to come forward and would like to share a story, an anecdote, or even a joke. So please come forward when you're ready.
Pauline Coppins has asked me to do a reading this morning, and that's on behalf of Pauline, Laurie, and all of the Coppins whānau. Life is a journey of sweetness and sorrow, of yesterday's memories and hopes for tomorrow, of pathways we choose and detours we face, with patience, humour, courage and grace, of joys that we've shared and of people we've met who have touched us in ways we will never forget.
I'm not often accused or require a microphone. I have a 28 voice. Kia ora tātou, ko-Joyce Radcliffe. I first started working with Nigel back in 2009 as part of the customer services group that we formed to help with the amalgamation of all of the councils. Working with Nigel, I soon saw many of his great strengths and many of his traits that I admired. I admired his unflappable approach. In a crisis, Nigel was the man to go to. He wasn't one to throw his toys. I admired his wise counsel. I admired the way he quietly influenced a room in a meeting. And I also admired how people looked to him for his guidance. The things I mostly admired about Nigel was his ability to be totally present with you. He would meet with you and you just were there. And we like to call that our moment in Nigel's sunshine. Also the way he was interested in people's development. And I'm going to share with you a little story that sums up Nigel for me. Sandra, you'll remember this. Nigel was really keen to develop his leadership team, his wider leadership team. So Sandra, with her beautiful skills, was putting together a leadership development program. At that time, the organisational OD manager also wanted to do that. So Sandra and I worked very closely with her to help pull that together. But we found they were moving at a glacial pace and we wanted to get a little bit more speed out of this. So we decided and we advised the appropriate person that we were going to continue. There was nothing we were doing that was going to conflict with anything that they were doing, and that we would work together with them. Anyway, this particular person wasn't very happy with us, so escalated this to Nigel. So Nigel called a meeting for Sandra and I to go into his room, and I was incensed that this person would take this approach. So me being me, I busily got out all my evidence to explain we'd met with her, what we told her, what we'd agreed with her, how we do it. And the time of the meeting came along and Sandra and I went in and we sat at Nigel's table and Nigel sat there and he looked at us and he said, "So why do you think she's behaving like that?" And that totally summed up Nigel. And that for me was an early experience with Nigel. And he blew my socks away because I hadn't expected that. And for me, it just reminded me, and I learned then, that Nigel, when you're part of Nigel's team and part of his wider network, he's totally got your back. He's right there with you. He trusts you. He knows you'll do the right thing. He knows that that's what's going to happen. And for me, that was a fantastic learning. And I, from that day on, was one of Nigel King's largest advocates. And I just want to share with you a little whakatauki that we would always say as part of an initiative that we had. And it is aha koa, he te hi panamu. And it means, even though my gift is small, it is precious. And I just want to say, Nigel's, your gift was more than precious. It was way up there, buddy.
Kia ora tātou, ngā mihi nui kia araha kia tātou. I just like to share a few words that remind me of Nigel. Kia hora te marino, may peace be widespread. Kia whakapapapaunamu te moana, may the sea be like greenstone. Hei huarahi, mā tātou I te rangi nei, a pathway for us all this day. Aroha atu, give love. Aroha mai, receive love. Tātou ia tātou katoa, let us show respect for each other I ngā wā katoa. Hei huarahi kia teitau, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. E te rangatira a Nigel King, I roto I te reo o he hini nui te pō, rest in the arms of the Queen of the Night. He moi moi roa, he sleep long time. He moi moi rangimarie, he sleep in peace. He moi moi aroha nui haere tonu, he sleep in love. Ake, ake ake, forever and ever. Humi e, hui e, tae ki e. Kia ora. Nā mihi kia aroha ki te whānau, Arthur, ki te whānau here Nigel. And to me, I thought of these words for a very long time, and it sums up Nigel for me. And I remember seeing him 3 weeks before he got mama, before he got sick. And I remember him jumping out of one lift, and I'm jumping into the other. And I said to him, oi. And we had a big hug, because I was here on the kaupapa, te kakano, te roku o te kakano, which he set up. And he looked as large as life, but I know that I just said, you need to take a break, mate. Yeah. Gave him a big hug and haere tonu for te rā. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. E haere I te mea noho nei, te aroa noho nei. Tupuna I tuku iho, I tuku iho. Kia ora whānau.
Kia ora te whānau. I have lots of stories about Nigel. I've worked with Nigel for nearly 9 years, lots of work stories about Nigel. But I wanted to tell you a story about the personal effect he had on us all. My mum passed away suddenly last year, and when I came back from England, everyone was being sympathetic and talking to me. And Nigel, one of his first questions was, so what did your mum used to cook for you? And we spent a lot of lunch times over the table upstairs talking about how my mum could make 1 kilo of mince and 2 kilos of potatoes cover 5 meals for 5 people. And he would share the same stories about his childhood meals, and it just made me feel like he was actually connected to me as a person rather than just as my manager. Nigel always believed in us all, and I think from the people that I've spoken to since he passed, he always had our backs. And we all talk about, he was customer services guiding light. He was, and still is, customer services to us all. And he was also a really good friend to us all. So thank you for sharing him with us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sally Woods, and I think I'm going to share a funny story, a sad one. Nigel and I started work at Auckland City Council at the same time when he came back the second time, and I think I'm a really hard person to manage, so I've been told. But Nigel knew how to get the best out of everyone. He made you feel that whatever you were was okay. And in the very early days, we were doing this kind of restructuring thing to move this person on. And in the middle of the night, there was this big crash in my apartment. And in my dreams, I thought this person had come in to kill me. and then woke up and realized that actually my whole wardrobe next door had completely collapsed and shut the door. So I had no clothes and nothing to wear to work the next day. And because I knew that Nigel was this amazing person, like with any other boss, you would have stayed home. But I went to work in my slippers, knowing that Nigel would find it hugely entertaining. It made me feel good and okay that I was so crazy I thought the man was in my room. But I could go to work in slippers and it'd be okay. And that was the kind of person who wanted to let you be you and feel really good about who you were. No matter how good or bad it was, it made us all feel that what we had to offer was something. So, yeah, it's going to be a hard act to follow.
Kia ora te whānau. I'm going to speak partly on behalf of Miss Pauline Coppins, because I know, Pauline, that you probably can't come up here. And one of the abiding memories or events for me of coming to work every day is that every day that Nigel was there, those two would sit and laugh and laugh and laugh. And they would always have lunch together. And it was so wonderful to be part of those kind of conversations. Nigel loved to talk about films, he loved to talk about food, he loved to discuss what was on and what was being served in the cafeteria that day. And he had such a broad ranging mind and such an interest in all of life's topics. It was wonderful, but I worked really closely with Nigel on the Kia Puawa program. And what happened to me on a number of occasions is that Sandra and I would sit down in the little room on level 2 with Nigel, and he would bring a new perspective to things. He would make us think about things in a different way. And one of the things that impressed me the most is that in the Kia Puawa program, which I'm sure all of you know about, we give people a second chance. And so unlike normal recruitment, if you have anything in your past, like we do a Ministry of Justice check, and let's say you've been in trouble with the law, that usually means you can't work for Auckland Council. But we give people a second chance with this program. And I remember the first time we had to talk to somebody about something that was in their past. And Nigel and Wendell and I, we would meet in one of the downstairs rooms on the ground floor. And the person would come in, and of course they would be terribly nervous. And usually they would start to cry straight away. And Nigel, I'll never forget the first time he did this. He would just say, "It's fine. We want to welcome you to Auckland Council. We just need to have this conversation." And he was so big-hearted, so generous, so amazing. So there's a poem I'd like to read because it sums up for me the big-heartedness of this man. It's by Mary Oliver. When death comes, like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me, and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the measles pox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering what's it going to be like, that cottage of darkness. And therefore I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and I look upon time as no more than an idea, and I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy, and as singular, and each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending as all music does towards silence, and each body a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world.
Pretty loud voice too. Hi, my name is Annette, and I worked with Nigel twice when he was first my manager at the call centre, and then when he returned to us some years ago. And I don't know who was really the manager there. I think it was really Pauline. I used to meet with Pauline and Nigel most days for morning tea and lunch, and sometimes I'd go and get Pauline and I'd say, because I was in the call centre, we were on the time screen, I'd say, is it time for a cup of tea? And Pauline would say, well, I've just come in. And she'd look at Nigel, and Nigel, off you go. So she'd just gotten to work late and we had to go and have a morning tea. And at lunchtime, I'd be having lunch with Nigel, and I'd get up to leave because I know that Des here would say, look, he's looking at me. You're meant to be back here in 30 minutes, where have you been? And I'd get up and start moving away, and Nigel would start telling me a joke. Or we'd start talking about food, as you said, or movies. And I'd be trying to get out of the room knowing that this time is ticking. And I'd get back and Des would look at me. It's all Nigel's fault. He just wouldn't let me leave. But no, Nigel and Pauline were just such a team. And I know I took redundancy 2 years ago and have since moved to try and retire in Taupo. But I was just so fortunate. I was bringing my grandchildren back up yesterday to Waiheke Island and heard about this today. So I'm just so proud to be here. He was a wonderful, wonderful man after this meeting. And I know a lot about you then. and I was just, for me, it was a shock because it was so quick for me and being so far away from my old team over there. As I said, the old girls were all back together. But no, he was wonderful. I just want to thank everybody. I'm just so pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
When I first started working with Nigel, I couldn't believe my luck because he was somebody who actually was prepared to have a go with some of these wacky ideas that I had. And I was thinking about some of them. One of the things that I look back on fondly now is the time when I'd heard about this new kids movie called The Cruise. And I was talking to Nigel about it and how, I'd been looking at a bit of it online. I don't know if you remember the movie, but an animated movie about a prehistoric family. And he said, let's go, let's take all the leaders. And so we hired out a theatre and we all took off. Only Nigel and I knew where we were going. And we took everybody to the movies, bags of popcorn. Got into a little bit of trouble because the theatre said, no, we provide the popcorn, not you. We bought it on the budget version and, stood at the door. And it was great. And that was one of the things that I really loved about Nigel. He was the really understanding guy, the guy that cared about you, not just in the work context, but he's also prepared to, take a risk sometimes and do something a bit different and something new. And I loved that. I loved that about him.
It's quite a crowd, I didn't see it. Thank you all for this wonderful service. I know it's touched all of us. Hear all these lovely words about Nigel, some of them are even probably true. But I could say that as well about the things he's told you about me and the rest of the family. Some of those stories will be true. But there is one thing I did want to say to you all, and that is that in Nigel's final message, he talked about how proud he was to work with all of you. He meant every word of that. He was fiercely proud of his team, of the Auckland Council, of the Customer Services Group. You meant the world to him, and he loved all of you. As you all know, he had a passion for customer service. Sometimes it got a little bit too passionate, but he believed in what you all were doing, regardless of what departments you were in. He also believed in bringing a customer service ethic to Auckland Council because he felt that it would help Council and it would help all of us as Aucklanders. And so I wanted you to understand that that passion was real and it was deep, that he cared about all of you immensely. And over the years, I heard a lot of stories. I heard about his mom made the best salmon chop suey. I heard about somebody else who made the best Fijian curry mix. We would hear about Des's shared lunch meals all the time, which miraculously didn't make it to our house somehow. I don't know why not. And he would often tell me about how Pauline would have mussels for lunch. Just quietly, we all thought it was a bit disgusting. But some of you I've known for years, some of you I've never met before, but I feel like we're all family because of Nigel. So thank you all for your love and support. Many of you sent text messages to Nigel when he was sick, and I read them to him when he was in hospital because he could no longer hold the phone. And it meant a lot to him that he got those messages. It meant a lot to the whole family. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of the family, thank you all for your love and support. Thank you for today's wonderful day. You'd be very proud of the job that you all did. Thank you very much. And thanks. That's all. Thank you.
I'd like to finish this section giving Nigel the last word.
I just want to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
I'd now like to invite the customer service lead team to share a reading.
Too many changes.
So we're going to put up a poem that we'd like to read as a lead team. It's called "In Great Trees Fall." In great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety.
Great trees fall in forests, small things recoil in silence. Their senses eroded beyond fear.
When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promise words never taken.
Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us. They existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed.
I just want to end on a lighter note.
I am so happy that I can wear this shirt without checking it in the night. So please all stand for our final waiata, Wakaria Mai, followed by our closing prayer. So I'd like to thank you all for coming today, and we'd like you to stick around for some light refreshments that we served in the lobby. Our Te Kākano team will bless the food before we partake in kai. But as we make our way out into the foyer today, we have a special dedication from Vinny Rongo and Siosi Tonu Pau. It is to close the events of today. It's Andy Greg's If Heaven. Ka mahara tonu mātou a Nigel. We will always remember you.
Heaven wasn't dark, it'd be twilight. With fireflies started dancing on the lawn. The choppers on the stove, and mama's laughing. And everybody's working days done. Everything I wanted is out there waiting, and everyone I love is still alive. Don't cry a tear for me now, baby. There comes a time we all must say goodbye. Oh, if that's what heaven's made of, you know I ain't afraid to die. Don't cry a tear for me now, baby. There comes a time we all must say goodbye. Oh, but if that's what heaven's made of, you know I ain't afraid to die.
Just a friendly reminder, we do have a book down the bottom. If you want to sign, try out all your skills in an artist, or simply sign your name. And also we have a donation box for a trust that's very close to Nigel's heart, Anxiety Trust. So if you would like to give Koha, there's a box down the back here.